Ladies and gentlemen, we're in for another treat. We have the incomparable young man himself, Mr. Gabriel Carusetta. Am I still pronouncing that correctly?
That's spot on. Perfect.
Awesome, awesome. So since the last time we got a chance to first sit down with, talk to, meet Gabriel, we learned that he's an aspiring Hollywood agent. He first went to school for mechanical engineering, and then that filmmaking bug just started biting, and he realized that he could turn his passions to storytelling. And we had an amazing conversation about how the new Hollywood is Netflix, or the new YouTube is Netflix, or is it that the new Netflix is YouTube? What is it? Ultimately, Gabriel was able to explain to us in such an eloquent way that because certain channels on YouTube, like Mr. Beast, are surmounting to so many subscribers, they are now competing in terms of subscribers. One YouTube channel with the amount of total subscribers Netflix has in all of North America. So the question beckons, who is the new Hollywood? And that was a great conversation. And so thank you, Gabriel, for that amazing insight. I know you are working on your own YouTube channel. Can you tell us about your YouTube journey, how things are going on your end?
Yeah, absolutely. That's been something that's been super fun to sort of get into because I've, sort of grown up on YouTube. I feel like it's the platform that I'm most native to. Like when I was growing up, I used to watch tons of YouTube videos, like more YouTube videos than I would even watch like what was on the TV, right? And then that led to me actually starting to make videos when I was very young. So like I was around 11. Just that was sort of like my first experience, I guess, with filmmaking or using a camera. Was just like documenting like different vlogs that I was doing, or I was very into archery at the time, so doing stuff like that. But I never really was consistent with it, right? That was the thing that is the most difficult, I think, is to consistently have that output of like every week committing to putting out a new video. And so that's what I've been trying to do for the past 4 months is just put out a video at least once every 2 weeks, and then learn as much as I can from each video and try and improve it. So it's been going, it's been very fun. I'll say like the results I've seen from it have been like very informative. I think, I've learned a lot about how to optimize for YouTube. So starting with like a thumbnail and a title, and then using that as the basis of any idea that I create. And that was actually a lesson that I learned recently because of, a video that I made that I didn't start with the title and the thumbnail, which is just what works for me personally. And it didn't perform that well. Whereas like a video that I released a couple days ago, like 4 days ago ish, that I did purposefully like put more effort into the thumbnail and title, like researched more, made sure it was like a topic that people had demand for, and then that did well. So I'm able to learn like what works and what doesn't work. So YouTube has been a ton of fun. Yeah.
That's awesome. Segueing right on top of you talking about how you're able to navigate new YouTube better and get more content on the platform that people are looking for. How has technology and digital platforms changed the ways that you think talent agencies and agents are offering opportunities to aspiring uh, filmmakers, whether that's in front or behind the camera?
I think it's going to completely change it because I think we're seeing a huge, I think, investment in digital creators. And, you can see that with UTA, which is the talent agency I'm going to be working at, just combined four of their divisions into one that's going to be called UTA Creators. That's just focused on the digital space, YouTubers, TikTokers, people who are on digital platforms and native to digital platforms, and representing them and getting them, more deals and more projects that they can work on. And that's they just opened up like a huge new space, just dedicated to that. So there's a clear investment on one hand, and then on the other hand, I think we're going to see more and more a lot of YouTubers sort of gain that power to become filmmakers or to use the power of YouTube or whatever online presence it is that they have. I think that's a huge not only selling point to a talent agent who might want to sign someone, having like a built-in audience, right? But it just makes a lot of sense for if you're casting a movie, right? You would prefer your stars to have large social media presences, a lot of people who are fans of them, right? Because that's the whole point of having, stars in the first place, is that people go to see a movie because they like you as a star. And I think that's going to be true for behind the scenes stuff as well. We just saw, I think it's Everything Except Nothing, which is a short film that was made by this guy in his last year of high school, right? And it's a really well made together, really well put together short film, but it's also a great YouTube video. And it just went viral, right? It got 4.7 million views. And then Darren Aronofsky, who's a really prominent Hollywood director, sees this video, emails him, says, "Hey, can you drop out of Harvard and go work on the full version of this," right? So he's now going to be the youngest director ever to have a deal with a studio to make a film, which is, I think, incredible, right? He's like 19 years old, and he's going to have this amazing project that he's working on, right? And I think that's going to become more and more common, is people who have either proven success from digital media, right? So like, or proven success on digital platforms, right? Because it's sort of like a test. Like, are people interested in this style of filmmaking? Are people interested in this type of story, right? That's something that we've seen Hollywood become really dependent on, is like intellectual property. They need some type of proof in order to put money towards a film. It's not good enough anymore to just have a great idea or a great story. That used to be all that was necessary to make a film, but now you have to have more. You have to have, ideally like a large following online already, right? A lot of hype built up around the film already, or you attach stars or people who can help with the publicity, or it has, it's based on an IP, like a book that is really popular. There has to be something there in order for all these companies to invest so much money into these films. And so I think that got off on a bit of a tangent, but yeah, I think online platforms, like, it's really like, it's surprising that it's taken a while for it to start affecting filmmaking in this way, because it feels like something like this should have happened years ago, but I think Hollywood is very slow to change.
That's amazing. Yesterday, ChatGPT 4.0, not 4.0, just 4.0 comes out, and everybody's waiting for the ChatGPT Sora. For those of you who don't know, that's an AI prompting tool where you can create actual video based off of sentences, high definition, photorealistic video. And then Google, through their Google Labs, they have a video platform that does the same thing. And these guys are going to be competing for dominance in the AI world. When it comes on to the guys and the girls behind the scenes, is AI really going to have the impact that creatives are fearful that it's going to be having? And how is that going to affect talent managers, agents?
So I think I love the way that you phrase that question, because I think like, it's going to have an impact, but I don't think it's going to maybe necessarily manifest in the ways that people are fearing that it might. And so I think I think people are fearing that, like, on the one extreme, right? It's maybe filmmaking is dead, right? Like, okay, we just don't really need to, that's like an extreme take, but it's a potential, route that you could hypothetically go down, right? So if we go down that route, we're like, okay, like, we have technology that is, you put in a prompt and it spits out, a photorealistic thing of, like, maybe it's 90% of like what you would have wanted. It's like, okay, like, that's good enough. Let's run with it. Let's make a movie out of that. But I think, to be honest, I just don't really see it working like that, right? I don't really see the movie making process being just a bunch of executives making decisions about, what to type into a prompt to make a movie. Because if that's how movies were made, they would all be terrible, right? It takes a lot of artistry. It takes a lot of craft. It takes a lot of storytelling. It takes hundreds of people coming together to make a movie. And I think, it's going to change. Like, maybe for some projects, maybe you do need less people, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean, that doesn't have to be a bad thing, right? Like, if you're making twice as many movies, for example, but with half as, like, maybe these people are just working on different jobs, right? So instead of, like, it being one $200 million movie that employs like 300 people, than probably way more than that. But for the hypothetical, then it would be similar to have a lot of like lower budget films that require less people, but they look like they're really expensive films because of these types of technologies. And I think like where they're best suited is for VFX or for really things that are really expensive. Like the Marvel type of VFX, like those are tens of millions of dollars spent on really complex productions, like virtual productions. And so, maybe that means that an independent filmmaker who's on a shoestring budget for, $50,000 to make a whole film, maybe he's able to now use, or he or she or they are able to use, some of this technology to create, a scene that wouldn't have been possible without spending like $5 million in the past, right? And then suddenly their film looks more professional, more professionally put together. It looks like a real film that you could see that was like a $20 million film. So I think we're going to see more of that, to be honest. Like really, I'm excited for it because I think there's going to be a lot of really inventive uses for it. And I think people just like, I just think that it would be foolish to try and make a movie in that way and to expect people not to sort of be turned off a little bit by, oh, these aren't like necessarily real people.
Right.
But who knows? Maybe none of that happens. Like the future is hard to determine. Maybe we're all going to be in VR headsets in 2 years and strapped into the metaverse, like people have been saying for the past like 5 years. So you never know, right? But I have hope for cinema.
Yes, absolutely. That's a very interesting segue that you just allowed for because Netflix last week announced that they're going to start focusing on lower budget films. And I'm sure Netflix does not want the production quality of their projects to look much different than they do now. So, yes, I totally agree that technology is going to help for more filmmakers to land themselves on bigger platforms. But what does this mean for legacy media? Do you think that the opportunities that digital platforms like Tubi or higher end like Netflix are going to start being more available to common filmmakers? Like outside of PBS?
I'm a little bit confused. So what exactly do you mean by that? Can you expand on it a little bit more?
Sure. So by legacy media, ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, do you think they too are going to see the appeal of AI tools being able to cut production and they're going to invite more no-name, low-budget filmmakers to pitch or give them content that is less expensive? Or do you think they're still going to want to keep it in-house? Or is this going to open up an opportunity for more people to have industry jobs? Maybe they won't pay what they used to, but maybe the barrier to entry will be lesser.
Yeah, I think I hadn't considered like, so I guess when it comes to like legacy television, yeah, I'm sure that for those types of shows, like they would love to sort of trim costs as much as possible. So that might be a place where AI has a big impact. But I think like sort of what one thing you're alluding to is like indie filmmakers or people who are outside of the traditional filmmaking structure, being given an opportunity to make great films, and to make money from those films, to actually make a career. And I do think that that's something that AI could potentially open up the door up to, just because I don't think it's these giant studios that are going to be best equipped to use AI, to use digital technologies, to use digital platforms, right? It's going to be smaller creators, people who are, able to move more nimbly, more quickly, adapt to these types of technologies, to really experiment with it. I think these are the types of people who are going to be able to take the most advantage of not just AI, but a whole bunch of different tools that are, filmmaking equipment is now cheaper and getting even cheaper, right? You can have access to really, really, really like great cameras that
Right.
are, becoming more technologically advanced every year.
Right.
Just 20 years ago, digital, was just far inferior to film, and film is just super expensive. So that creates a lot of costs, and it's really hard to work with. So now it's filmmaking is easier, it's more accessible, it's getting, you know, people are able to now use tools to help them with parts of their story. And I think all of these things benefit the independent producer, the independent filmmaker, the person who's, you know, got maybe they're just working within their community, and they're just they're putting together a film. I think all these tools help them to create a much better, like the effect that it has is just more pronounced, I guess, because I think, you know, when a Netflix or when a large production company wants to make a film, uh, they've been doing it a certain way for a really long time, and so it's hard to, I guess, introduce AI or introduce these different things, or even if they do, it might feel gimmicky, it might feel like not, appropriate, or it might not necessarily make the film any better. But I think, yeah, I just have a lot more optimism for, I guess, like digital creators.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Gabriel, your YouTube channel is fascinating. And I hope everybody watching this goes to @Gabriel Carusetta on YouTube and hit that subscribe button. You've got some wonderful content. Your last 6 videos go like this. Will Mr. Beast biggest project ever break Hollywood? YouTube just beat Netflix. What's Hollywood going to do about it? Why Hollywood? Why you shouldn't try to break into Hollywood? I asked Fallout writer how they made a show feel like the game. Great show, by the way. So that was a wonderful interview. I really enjoyed it. Thank you for that. The Paramount situation is crazier than Succession. That's just a hilarious title. That was well done. And now, the real problem with movies nowadays. And the thumbnail is Dune versus, what's that video game?
Yeah, it's Uncharted.
Uncharted, yeah. Thank you. Now, all these videos are great, but the real problem with movies nowadays seems to have been a breakout hit in terms of views. Why do you think that video was successful?
Yeah, it's super simple. It's just because I did more research on the thumbnail and title. I use a tool called 1 of 10, and you can find outliers for videos. So you can say, okay, I'm looking for videos about this topic, say Hollywood, media, filmmaking, going to the movies, theaters, whatever topic you want to talk about. You put it into that, and it spits out outliers. So outliers are, videos that get more views than the usual amount for that channel. So if a channel gets like 1,000 views a video, and then a video of theirs gets 5,000 views, then, oh, that's an outlier. That's a 5x outlier. So I went through just, you can, using this tool, or you can also just go on YouTube and sort of manually do it. The tool just makes it easier. But you can sort of just spot, like, okay, which videos are getting an abnormal amount of views, and then that's what tells you what's actually being picked up by the YouTube algorithm. Because, in order to actually break out, to be a 5x, multiplier, it needs to go beyond just the initial subscribers that you have. So it means that it's not just people clicking on it because they're familiar with the YouTuber. So, if a YouTuber has like, just it's them in the the thumbnail, every video, and it's like, oh, okay, they build up an audience, and then people watch it because they trust that creator, right? It's not necessarily that there's anything specifically about the thumbnail that makes them want to click on it. But a thumbnail that's like really well optimized for YouTube that you see has like a 5x multiplier. You can sort of just collect those. So I can send you like a screenshot of like what it looks like. For anyone interested, I have a Notion document that goes through my entire workflow for making YouTube videos. So I can send you the link if you're interested in that.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, and it's just like I'll refine it for like the latest version I'm on, which is I'm liking the process more and more now. But yeah, I'd say like, it honestly doesn't necessarily, like, I try to also, do something a little bit better in every single video, but to be honest, like, it's not necessarily even the quality of the video, although the quality is important. Like, you want to, retain people for a lot of the video. But, I used to put a lot of effort into editing, right? Like, that's where I put most of my time, was coming up with B-roll, finding music, really carefully crafting every moment of it. And I think, like, that's, important, right? Editing can help make a video feel more alive and engaging. But it's, you have to do that cost analysis of, like, for every hour that you spend editing, is it going to really be this much better? And it's not really. And so like, I think I like to think about like the 20% that controls 80% of the outcome. And on YouTube, it's absolutely the thumbnail and the title. And I think that's the thing that a lot of people forget, because it's easy to really dive into, okay, I want to make the best possible video, or I want to talk about this topic. And, it's a struggle to actually like fit what you want to talk about with what people are actually watching. Because, you can talk about what you want to talk about, and you can definitely organically build up an audience that way.
Right.
But if you want to like consistently go viral, you have to follow, the rules of YouTube, which are like, think about the thumbnail and the title first, and then create a video based around that.
I don't think we can give any more value in this video than what you just gave us, Gabe. I said Gabe. I'm sorry, Gabriel. Like, that was amazing. I don't even want to go any further. That was amazing.
Appreciate it. It's literally just like what Mr. Beast says. I take no credit for it. I just watched like where those 10-minute compilations of him speaking, and yeah, it's just what
Gabriel, you mentioned that YouTube tool. It's called 1 out of 10. Is that spelled ONE?
1 and then of just OF and then 10. I like the tool. You can also just do this just browsing YouTube, which sometimes I just browse YouTube and I look at outliers and see like, oh, this video got like 1 million views, and the normal amount of views this channel gets is like 10,000 views. It's like, obviously there's something about this idea, this thumbnail, this title that people want to click on. And so it's like, I just try and find those and then make more videos like that.
That's incredible. That's incredible. I just want to say thank you so much for another. I always forget the eye line. I'm looking right here. Gabriel, thank you so much for hanging out with us. This was a great call. You give so much information. I want everybody out there watching this to subscribe to Gabriel's YouTube channel. The link to the channel is in the description of this video. He is a world of knowledge, and he is going to be a world-class Hollywood agent and do so much to contribute to society. Gabriel, thank you. Look forward to the next time we get an opportunity to talk. And as always, if there's anything I, Kevin Parkinson, can do for you, please let me know. Please let me know. I really enjoy having you around.
For sure. I appreciate you having me on. Likewise, really enjoyed the conversation. Looking forward to the next one. And good luck with your documentary.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Off camera, I'm going to tell you all about it. It's very interesting. I'm keeping it under wraps for right now. But the plan is to be done with it before the end of the summer, or by the end of the summer.
Dope.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much. Talk to you really soon.